So the Indiana Fever fans are furious with this signing. Absolutely furious with the fact the Fever have signed someone who appears to be a Caitlin Clark hater in Brianna Turner.
The Indiana Fever just shook up the entire fan base with a major move. They signed Brianna Turner. But in less than 24 hours, she somehow managed to turn that excitement into a full-blown disaster. That's right. Within a single day, Turner went from the team's latest star signing to public enemy number one.
Brianna Turner, Sky fans hate her. Like, there is no player the Sky fans hated more than Brie Turner, who came on a big contract, a genuinely big contract.
Here's where it gets wild. Turner didn't just ruffle a few feathers, she ignited a full-blown revolt. Fans are already demanding she be cut before she's even played a single game. What on earth did she do to cause such a storm? And how will this affect the Fever's season hopes? We've got the inside scoop, and believe me, you won't want to miss this.
So it looked like the Fever front office has made a huge mistake and screwed up Caitlin Clark for the 2025 season. They have created a hostile work.
Hard to believe, right? In less than 24 hours, Brianna Turner went from the Fever's exciting new signing to public enemy number one. Fans were hyped about landing a defensive juggernaut they thought would help propel the team up the ranks. But then, bam! Old tweets surface, and now everyone's asking, hold up, did Turner just throw shade at Caitlin Clark?
A lot of the tweets and stuff do not look good. Do not look good from Brie Turner.
So, what did Turner actually say? She took a dig at Iowa's celebration for being NCAA runner-up, the same team where Caitlin Clark had an epic season. Turner tweeted, Iowa will hold a celebration to honor the NCAA runner-up. All players and coaches expected this respectfully. I'm confused. Is this what a runner-up typically does? Oof. Not exactly the best way to win over your new fan base, right?
So, she tweeted this. Iowa will hold a celebration to honor the NCAA runners-up. All players and coaches expected. This is Iowa to hold a celebration. Respectfully, I'm confused. Is this what a runner-up typically does now? Haven't seen this before. But kudos to them for publicly honoring all they've accomplished this season. I'm confused. Is this what a runner-up does? It does if you're Iowa. I'm sorry, it does.
But hold up. It gets even better. When fans started calling her out, Turner didn't backpedal or apologize. Nope, she pretty much told them to take a hike. She tweeted, "Feel free to unfollow me or block me if that is bothersome to you." Yeah, not exactly a warm welcome to your new city, huh?
Let's be real. She tweeted about the whole, do you remember the whole, harassment by the journalist? Or say not by the journalist, by the paparazzi, the TMZ person who tried to ask Kennedy Carter a question. And obviously she went and made a way bigger deal about that than it should have been.
Curious how the fans reacted? Let's just say the internet lost it. Fans were absolutely freaking out online. One fan even said, the fact that her new team's fan base has been crashing out over this and harassing her for activism says it all. It's like Turner opened a can of worms, then grabbed a fishing pole and went to town.
When Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White and these people came out and basically said at the end of the season, and Kelsey Mitchell and all these people, she was really anti-Fever. I don't think she was necessarily anti-Caitlin Clark with what she said, but she was anti-Fever when everyone was saying, do not platform the trolls.
Here's where things get even juicier. Turner isn't backing down at all. She's holding her ground, and now people are left wondering, what's next? Will the Fever step in and try to smooth things over? Or are they going to let Turner keep tweeting her way into more chaos?
But at the same time, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt because some of these WNBA players have probably never had paparazzi around them in their entire lives. So they might think one person kind of getting in someone's face, ask them a question on the street in a public place is harassment. And do I think on a personal level, the people doing paparazzi stuff is right and good? No, but there's a line. If we're calling that harassment, everything harassment.
One commentator couldn't help but point out that Turner didn't even last 24 hours before clashing with fans on Twitter. That's got to be some kind of record, right? It's like she speed ran the How to Alienate Your New Fan Base challenge.
She came out on Twitter saying we needed to platform the trolls, and when somebody responded that we need to platform the trolls and call it out, and it's the responsibility of everyone to call out all this, and it's like someone responded was like, that's the worst thing you do. These aren't people. These are literally just internet trolls that are doing it for attention. And then she basically doubled down, was like, no, you're wrong. You need to platform the trolls.
You might be thinking, is this really just about a few tweets? Can't everyone just move on? But here's the thing. In today's sports world, social media is everything. It's how players bond with fans, how teams build their brand, and sometimes how careers go off the rails before they even get going.
It was purely a college wants to celebrate greatest team in the history of the college. And she comes out and goes like, why are they doing this? Runners-up shouldn't be doing this. No one would say this word if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark. You just know that.
Think about it. The WNBA is on the rise. Caitlin Clark is headed to Indiana, and the Fever are getting more attention than ever. Then, here comes Brianna Turner, looking like she's ready to throw shade at the very fans who are supposed to have her back. It's like she missed the first rule of joining a new team. Don't insult the local hero.
That is the one thing where I'm like, that's the one direct thing with Caitlin Clark. But she has essentially like not shown to be necessarily fully anti-Caitlin Clark, but she was definitely in the group of players that you will say you could brand as saying anti-Caitlin Clark stuff.
All right, so Turner's in deep water. What's her next move? Apologize? Try to make peace with the fans? Nope, not even close. She comes out swinging with a tweet that had everyone's jaws hitting the floor. Let me hit you with it. I will not bend the knee or change my online advocacy efforts to appease others while I anticipate receiving criticism, hostility, and invalidation. Can you believe she actually said that?
Instead of her coming in wanting a winning mentality, now Joanna Bonner had said some things online too, but what Brianna Turner just did is just completely disrespected the fan base as a whole.
You might be thinking, all right, maybe she's just standing firm on her beliefs. But here's the catch. Turner isn't just addressing social issues. She's flat out brushing off the concerns of her new fan base. And let me tell you, Fever fans are not having it. They're already demanding she be cut before she even gets a chance to step on the court.
Now, Brianna Turner is a different type of individual. Granted, she has defensive possibilities, and she's a great addition to have on a bench. But outside of that, she comes with a lot of baggage. Now, that baggage is now causing major concerns online, and people is demanding she be removed from this basketball team.
But hold up, it gets even wilder. Turner's not backing down. She's doubling down, saying she won't change for anyone. It's like she's tossing gasoline on a fire that's already raging. You've got to wonder, does she even care about winning over the fans? Or is she more focused on stirring up drama?
You didn't have no way to like mediate anything to where like, okay, guys, I know y'all feel this way about me. Let's meet somewhere in the middle. How can we move forward this? How can we move forward and past this? Want to know what Joanna Bonner said? You can unfollow me. I'm not changing the way I feel.
Now, this isn't just about Turner. It's a full-blown crisis for the Indiana Fever. Can you imagine what's going through the front office's minds right now? They're probably in full panic mode, scrambling to figure out how to handle this disaster. Do they stand by their new player and risk pushing the fans even further away? Or do they distance themselves from Turner and risk creating tension within the team?
Now, is that something you want to say when you're newly to a team and you know the fan base seriously do not like you? Is to unfollow me? I'm not changing the way I feel. That right there showed me you don't care about the fan.
But here's where things get really interesting. Turner's attitude might be a bigger issue than anyone realized. This isn't just about one tweet or one player. It's about the whole team dynamic and how athletes have to navigate the tricky world of social media and public perception.
Now, these are the people that has to buy your tickets, watch the games, and pretty much cut your check. Now, I don't know how things was with you in Chicago. Maybe y'all was like manipulated, brainwashed, but y'all speaking out and saying things outside of basketball and sparking these race wars is the reason y'all in this position.
Think about it. In today's sports world, players aren't just athletes. They're brands, influencers, role models. And when they join a new team, they're not just swapping jerseys, they're stepping into an entire new community. But Turner? It's like she completely forgot that part of the playbook.
Brianna Turner stated, "Unfollow me." That was her exact words, bro. Simply telling the fans to unfollow her. How selfish was that?
You might be wondering, is Turner the only athlete who's ever faced backlash for speaking out? Not even close. But here's the difference. Most athletes know how to balance their personal beliefs with their role on the team. They engage with fans, build bridges, and find common ground.
Why come we can't fix the discrimination and get an understanding, meet in the middle? How can we talk this out? Because I'm here now. I know y'all not feeling what I'm putting out, but we need to talk this out instead of telling people to unfollow.
But Turner? She's taking a different approach. It's like she's saying, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. And while that might sound bold at first, it's a risky play in the world of professional sports, because at the end of the day, sports are about more than just the players on the court. They're about the fans in the stands, the community backing the team, and that shared passion for the game.
I know she knew, but we need to have some type of understanding. And we're not having an understanding when you're telling people to unfollow you. Granted, she can't take back what she said, but you don't come right here and slap the people in the face and say, you know what, I'm against this, that, this, and that. If you don't like it, unfollow me.
So, what happens next? Well, that's the million-dollar question. Will Turner stick to her guns and risk becoming a pariah in Indiana? Or will she realize that this fight might not be worth it? Will the Fever step in and try to smooth things over? Maybe make some public gestures to win back the fans? Or will they cut their losses and move on from the drama? And what about the team's chemistry? With all this tension hanging over them, how will it affect the players as they head into what was supposed to be an exciting season? What was meant to be a fresh start could end up being a messy, divisive chapter, one that could have lasting consequences on the court and off. The stakes have never been higher, and it's anyone's guess how it'll all play out.
Or as alive, but there has been a confirmation. There has been, well, as good as a confirmation from the draft. And it's unfortunate they leaked the expansion draft, or at least leaked part of the expansion draft.
As the new franchise made its much-anticipated entrance, speculation soared about how the Valkyries would build their inaugural roster. Naturally, Caitlin Clark became a focal point in these discussions, celebrated for her exceptional scoring prowess, long-range three-point shooting, and strong leadership on the court. Caitlin has emerged as one of the brightest stars in women's basketball today. The potential addition of her talents to the Valkyries has generated tremendous buzz and anticipation among enthusiasts and analysts alike.
Right, there we go. We have our first 4 names of the reveal, and there they are. And just in case you didn't pick up on it, these names are being announced in alphabetical order from the teams of the W. So there's no ranking here in terms of who's most important. Your first thought?
In case you missed it, these selections are being announced in alphabetical order based on the teams, so there's no ranking in terms of importance. At first glance, you might assume Caitlin Clark would be among them, but when the draft results were revealed, an unexpected twist occurred. The Valkyries chose not to draft Caitlin Clark. This surprising decision left both fans and analysts stunned, igniting debates across social media platforms and sports broadcasts. The Golden State Valkyries' participation in the expansion draft marked a pivotal moment for the WNBA. It's a rare opportunity for a new team to build its roster from the ground up, and anticipation was high as fans watched to see their selections. While many anticipated bold moves, the decision to bypass Caitlin Clark, widely regarded as one of the league's brightest stars, created a wave of controversy and confusion within the basketball community.
As for the names on the back of the jerseys, we do have 4 more names that are about to be revealed in just a moment, but we do want to do a little table set of the Valkyries' notable games during what will be their inaugural season. They'll open the season in the Chase Center against the Sparks in a battle for Cali, some other marquee matchups as well. Defending champ Liberty May 27th, and they've got the Aces and Fever.
Her standout performance at Iowa made her a household name, and her seamless transition to the WNBA only heightened her impact. As a high-volume scorer and talented playmaker, she possesses the unique ability to draw crowds and secure victories. So, why did the Valkyries pass on drafting her when they had the opportunity? The reason stems from a combination of strategic planning, roster-building priorities, and the complexities of managing star talent within a newly established team. She is more than just a prolific scorer. She is a transformative player. Her knack for sinking three-pointers from seemingly unreachable distances and her exceptional court vision make her an invaluable asset. Additionally, she exemplifies leadership both on and off the court, frequently taking control during pivotal moments of the game. Any team would be fortunate to acquire her talents, or so it appears. However, constructing a new franchise goes beyond assembling star players. It involves ensuring the right fit, fostering chemistry, and implementing long-term strategies. This vision necessitated selecting players who could offer versatility and balance to their roster. Opting to draft a superstar like Caitlin Clark might have seemed like a straightforward way to make headlines, but it could have interfered with the delicate task of forming a unified and cohesive team structure. A prime example of the Valkyries' strategic selection is Temi Fagbenle. As an experienced center, Fagbenle brings defensive strength and leadership qualities that are crucial for any team seeking to establish its identity. However, her selection sparked surprise because it meant that Caitlin Clark remained with the Indiana Fever. Speculation among fans suggested that Fagbenle's departure from the Fever was closely linked to Clark's increasing influence within the team. Her on-court presence attracts media coverage, drives merchandise sales, and energizes fan communities. For the Indiana Fever, she serves as a cornerstone in their rebuilding efforts. Conversely, for the Valkyries, acquiring a player of her caliber might have introduced significant challenges. Effectively managing a star athlete requires substantial resources, both financially and in terms of team dynamics. Clark's playing style necessitates that the team's offense is centered around her. She thrives as a high-usage player who relies on having the ball in her hands. While this strategy can be effective for established teams with well-defined systems, it poses risks for a new franchise striving to find its balance. The Valkyries likely aim to prevent their entire identity from hinging on a single player, regardless of her talent. Instead, their focus was probably on assembling a more balanced roster, capable of evolving into a cohesive unit that can compete comprehensively without depending excessively on any one individual.
From the Atlanta Dream, the Golden State Valkyries select center Ileana Rupert.
Another layer to this decision is the Valkyries' emphasis on defense and versatility. Players like Fagbenle, Alana R., and Monique Billings offer flexibility across multiple positions, enabling the team to adjust to various matchups. While drafting Clark might have been tempting, it could have constrained their ability to build a well-rounded roster. Under the expansion draft rules, teams had the option to protect certain players. Unsurprisingly, the Fever chose to safeguard Caitlin Clark, effectively removing her from the Valkyries' selection pool. This move came at a price, leaving players like Fagbenle unprotected. For the Fever, this was a strategic gamble. They prioritized securing their star player, understanding that losing other valuable role players might be an unavoidable consequence. Protecting Clark underscores her significance to the Fever's future. She's not merely a player, but the cornerstone of their franchise. Losing her would have severely hampered their rebuilding efforts. Nevertheless, some fans believe that leaving Vag Bentley unprotected was a misstep, as she is a dependable contributor who brings both experience and grit to the team. By passing on high-profile players like Caitlin Clark, they signaled their commitment to constructing a team based on depth, teamwork, and strategic foresight. This method may not create immediate headlines, but it lays the groundwork for long-term success. Naturally, not everyone concurs with this strategy. Critics argue that the Valkyries forfeited an opportunity to secure a generational talent. Caitlin Clark's ability to attract fans and elevate her teammates makes her a rare asset in the WNBA. Opting out of drafting her could be viewed as a risky move, especially for a new team aiming to establish itself in a competitive environment. However, there's a valid argument supporting the Valkyries' choice. Building a successful franchise requires time and meticulous planning. While star players like Caitlin Clark can transform a team, they also introduce complexities both on and off the court. For the Valkyries, the expansion draft was about more than just acquiring talent. It was about establishing a foundation for a team capable of competing at the highest levels. As the Valkyries gear up for their inaugural season, all eyes will be on their roster decisions. Will their strategic approach yield positive results, or will they rue the decision to pass on players like Caitlin Clark? The outcome may not be immediate, but one thing is clear: this decision will be closely examined. Understanding the Valkyries' choice to forgo Caitlin Clark requires looking at the broader context. How will this impact the future of the Valkyries and Caitlin Clark's role with the Indiana Fever? Launching a new franchise carries the inherent pressure to make a significant impact quickly. Acquiring a player like Caitlin Clark would undoubtedly generate headlines and draw fans to the arena. However, a franchise's success isn't solely determined by hype. It's about winning games and cultivating a sustainable culture. The Valkyries appear to have prioritized balance over star power. A key aspect of this decision revolves around Caitlin Clark's compatibility with a new system. Clark is renowned for her dynamic, high-energy playing style. She's a high-usage player who excels in systems designed to highlight her individual talents. However, for a nascent team like the Valkyries, selecting a player of Clark's magnitude could result in a lopsided roster. The team might feel compelled to build entirely around her, potentially compromising depth and versatility. Historically, teams that secure elite talent early on often set themselves up for sustained success. Clark's ability to draw double teams, stretch defenses, and control the game's tempo makes her a generational talent. By passing on her, the Valkyries are essentially betting on their ability to discover comparable talent in the future, a gamble that may or may not pay off.
It's been interesting because since your article dropped, I gotta say, it has got all the buzz. If you are on X, if you're on Instagram, TikTok for the young kids, you know that Caitlin Clark is the Time Athlete of the Year. How has your 24 hours been since the articles dropped?
It's been awesome, and just the reaction. Obviously, people so excited not only about women's basketball, but about women's sports, and how excited and deserving, not only myself, but just women's sports as a whole.
Caitlin Clark just became the first WNBA player to claim Time's Athlete of the Year, but not everyone is joining the celebration. It's become increasingly clear she has her share of haters, from Cheryl Swoops, Aja Wilson, to Nalissa Smith, Diana Taurasi, and sadly, the list doesn't end there.
Cheryl, I'll start with you. What's your reaction to Caitlin Clark winning Time Magazine Athlete of the Year?
I don't think I'm surprised. I'm curious to know who the other candidates were.
In a twist that's both startling and yet oddly predictable, Cheryl Swoops, four-time WNBA champion and now Clark's most outspoken critic, had plenty to say about the athlete's recent win. In today's segment, we'll break down the controversy, examine the backlash, and uncover the unexpected way Clark is handling it all. While Clark had the perfect moment to fire back, she chose a different route, leaving everyone utterly speechless. Here's why her response is a masterclass in grace and leadership.
And I've grown up a huge women's sports fan, whether it was basketball, whether it was soccer, whether it was volleyball, you go down the list. Like, I grew up loving it and watching it, so it's pretty special. Like, it doesn't really feel real that I get to be here, but an amazing honor.
Imagine this, Caitlin Clark riding high after earning Time Athlete of the Year, yet not everyone's raising a glass. Enter Cheryl Swoops, former WNBA superstar turned unforeseen critic, stirring up drama on the Gills Arena podcast.
The fact that that's the very first WNBA player to ever win Time Magazine Athlete of the Year is pretty special. And my question is, like the criteria, is it based off of her performance on the court, which, yeah, she had a great year, or is it more about the impact that she had on the game this season?
Rather than praising Clark, Swoops launches into a full-on tirade, openly challenging the very standards used to grant Clark her title. "I'm trying to understand what the criteria is," she says, her voice laced with disbelief. And she doesn't stop there. Swoops rattles off a list of other contenders she believes should have earned the honor instead. The whole thing feels like a slow-motion train wreck, leaving fans and analysts alike puzzled and asking what's really at play.
This is just probably just the impact of the sport, a little bit of it's a little bit of everything, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, no,
when you
no
think
doubt.
about,
She
when
had
you
a
just
huge
think about
impact.
athletes of this year,
Yeah.
it's her, the swimmer
What swimmer?
for Olympics,
Katie Ledecky.
her performance,
Shit, you
know,
can put
in the
Simone
Olympics.
Biles back in there.
You can put her back in there. Probably LeBron from his Olympics.
As we delve further into Swoops' remarks, a pattern starts to form. This isn't her first time taking aim at Clark. When Clark shattered the NCAA scoring record, Swoops was quick to downplay it, questioning whether the accomplishment was all that remarkable given how much the game has evolved since the original milestone was set.
Put Asia Wilson in there.
That was just basketball.
So that's what I'm saying. Was it just the performance on the court, or
It's
everything
global.
else?
Like, I think it's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything.
What about Wilson? She demands, leaving everyone listening in stunned silence. Is this just a careless slip, or is there something more simmering beneath the surface? Swoop's outburst lays bare a deeper struggle. It's not only about Clark now, it's the old guard facing off against the new era, tradition clashing with the future of women's basketball. Once the sport's leading figure, Swoops now watches from the sidelines as Clark captivates a whole new generation of fans.
It just keeps putting a light on the sport for everybody else to eat. And, sometimes, just as athletes, we are competitive by nature. And, we don't like when someone's getting something that we don't think they deserve.
The basketball world is left stunned. Swoops, once a beacon of inspiration for countless young athletes, including a young Caitlin Clark, now appears bitter and disconnected. Her remarks ignite intense debates online, with fans and players alike taking sides. Yet here's the ironic twist. While Swoops questions Clark's merit, Clark's star power only intensifies. Her record-breaking performances and swelling fan base speak volumes. The contrast is glaring. One athlete clinging to the past, the other blazing a trail into the future of women's basketball.
Well, it's been a crazy year. It's hard to think about. Like, I was basically just starting my senior year of college at this time last year. And then I graduated. I missed my college graduation, got drafted here in New York City. basically moved right to Indianapolis and basically start like a whole new chapter of your life instantly, and you don't really have much time to adjust. But lucky enough, I had a really great support system and family around, and I'm from the Midwest, so didn't take me too long, but this past year has just been amazing.
How does Clark tackle this sudden wave of criticism? Does she lash out, stoking the flames? Or does she remain poised under pressure? Her approach to this conflict won't just shape her legacy, it could help reshape the entire landscape of women's basketball. Buckle up, because Clark is about to reveal the depths of her character.
It's fun to reflect back and think about all the amazing things that I was able to accomplish and the people that I got to do it with. I think that's what's made it so special is I've had my family with me the whole time, my friends, amazing teammates, amazing coaches, and it wouldn't be possible without all of them, so just really fortunate.
Remember when we said Clark was about to show us what she's made of? Well, her response to the Time Award controversy isn't just surprising, it's genuinely groundbreaking. She's redefining what leadership looks like in women's basketball. While swoops cast doubt, Clark continues to smash records and win over fans' hearts. How does she handle the criticism? Does she shoot back? Not at all. Clark takes the high road, and that choice has everyone talking.
The number of Indiana Fever fans I saw in young girls and the way they were lighting up, I mean, you have represented something so special for the sport, but you've drawn eyes to a game that you've always grown up loving. What does that mean to you?
You know, it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around because I'm so focused and so competitive, and I love the game. I love playing. I love being in front of the fans. But over the course of probably the last 2.5 years, it's all kind of changed where, you know, it's hard to get a ticket whether we're at home or whether we're on the road.
In her Time interview, Clark doesn't merely shrug off the controversy. She faces it head on with a level of maturity that's capturing everyone's attention. Caitlin Clark's rise to stardom has been accompanied by a refreshing sense of self-awareness.
A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then you continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing.
But Clark doesn't stop there. She makes a point of recognizing the legends who laid the groundwork for her success. And guess who she gives credit to? Cheryl Swoops herself. It's a move that proves Clark isn't just an elite talent on the court. She's a class act off it as well.
Thoughts on Caitlin Clark saying she wants to use her platform to elevate black women in the WNBA have been instrumental, obviously, in building that league to what it is. Okay.
So what's the
Clark's reply? It's more than simply rising above the fray. It's a masterclass in handling criticism with grace, transforming a potentially negative moment into something uplifting. She's not just standing up for her own achievements, she's raising the bar for the entire dialogue surrounding women's basketball.
I remember my first WNBA game, one of the best memories of my childhood, and I think very influential in wanting to be a professional basketball player, wanting to be a great person, having those people to look up to and want to be like one day. So I just try to embody that every single day, and I feel like I have good perspective on, like, basketball isn't my everything. Like, yeah, I love it, and I get to do it, and it's given me a lot of really great opportunities, but at the same time, you know, win or loss, I feel like I try to be the same person.
The contrast between Clark's approach and Swoops' remarks couldn't be more stark. While Swoops questions and criticizes, Clark chooses to celebrate and uplift. This strategy isn't just winning her new fans, it's quieting her critics in the most impactful way possible. Don't mistake Clark's kindness for weakness, though. Her words carry real weight, and her actions speak volumes. She's showing that you don't have to tear others down to elevate yourself. In fact, by paying tribute to those who came before her, Clark is securing her own legacy in basketball history.
Know how you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. Like, I feel like it's them looking in a mirror a little bit,
Yeah.
but it still comes down on your shoulders.
I feel like I always have had really good perspective on everything that's kind of happened in my life, whether that's been good, whether that's been bad. And then obviously coming to the WNBA, like I've said, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career.
As the controversy fades, one truth stands out. Clark's handling of the situation has transformed what could have been a divisive episode into a moment of unity for women's basketball. She's demonstrated that it's possible to be both a fierce competitor on the court and a gracious leader off it. But the story doesn't end here. Clark's poised response has paved the way for a much broader conversation. How will the rest of the basketball community react to this display of sportsmanship and class? Stay tuned, because the reactions are about to roll in, and they may just surprise you.
But also, I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years, so I know there's been so many amazing black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important. And that's something I'm very aware of. And like I said, like, I try to just be real and authentic and, you know, share my truth. And I think that's very easy for me. Like, I'm very comfortable in my own skin. And that's kind of been how it is my entire life.
Clark's triumph and Swoop's critique didn't just grab headlines. They sparked a wildfire of debate across the basketball landscape. Opinions are swirling at lightning speed, faster than one of Clark's signature three-pointers, and everyone wants their say. Let's break down the reactions. On Clark's side, a whole army of supporters has turned up. Fans are flooding social media with admiration for the rising star, applauding her poise under pressure and calling out Swoops for what they view as a bitter backlash. As one fan tweeted, Clark's response shows she's already a legend in the making. Swoops could learn a thing or two about sportsmanship.
And you'll never be able to make everyone happy. And someone that knows that at the age of 22, like, let's go.
I mean, I think I have good perspective on that. And like I said in the article, which turned out amazing, I thought it was great. I said, I feel like one of my best skills is just blocking things out. Like, I don't really, the only opinions I really care about are the people that I love, my teammates, my coaches, the people inside of our locker room, the people that I see every single day, and I know have my best interests at heart too.
How will all this drama shape Clark's future in the WNBA? That's the million-dollar question. Some believe the controversy might heap extra pressure on her next season. Others argue it's only adding fuel to her competitive fire, potentially setting the stage for a dominant sophomore year and maybe even an MVP run. But here's what nobody can dispute. Clark's influence is undeniable. WNBA ticket sales are soaring, and television ratings for women's college basketball have never been higher. Even viewers who've never followed the women's game are tuning in just to watch Clark play. The numbers don't lie. Clark isn't merely a player, she's a phenomenon. And she's redefining the landscape of the sport.
I'm just scratching the surface of the things I want to accomplish, and you know, I'm 22. I'm still figuring out life. I'm still figuring out where everything's going to go, and you know, I love basketball, and basketball has brought me so many amazing things, and that will continue to be probably my first passion and everything that I enjoy. And hopefully once basketball ends, I can still find things that I'm really passionate about and can do. Hopefully be an owner of a sports team one day, or open a restaurant. I don't know. Something fun. A little less stressful, maybe. Maybe a coffee shop or something. I don't know.
Clark's impact isn't just about one award or one controversy. It's about the future of the game. While some question the criteria behind her Time Athlete of the Year win, Clark's response, acknowledging the greats who came before her, even Cheryl Swoops, has been a masterclass in grace and leadership. Instead of firing back, she's elevating the conversation. Her style of play, highlighted by long-range shooting and raw emotion, is inspiring young athletes to pick up a basketball and believe in their own potential. Fans are tuning in like never before, and ticket sales and TV ratings reflect her growing influence. Clark's authenticity off the court, making time for fans and remembering what it's like to be the kid in the crowd, resonates on a personal level. This isn't just about Clark and Swoops, It's about the entire trajectory of women's basketball. The sport stands at a crossroads, balancing respect for its legends with the rise of new stars who are redefining what's possible. Clark's story is bringing more attention, more debate, and more excitement to the WNBA. She's not merely breaking records, she's reshaping perceptions, inspiring a new generation, and turning the spotlight onto women's basketball like never before. As we watch Clark's journey unfold, it's clear the game is evolving before our eyes. Her rise signals a new era, one in which women's sports command center stage and future players dream even bigger. The sport will never be the same, and that's exactly the point.
What it do, peeps? Cheryl Swoops is been missing. Cheryl Swoops is MIA. They got a APB out for Cheryl Swoops. If you see Cheryl Swoops, she did a lot of talking a few months ago about the Indiana Fever, the locker room environment, how people didn't want to play there, how people wanted to leave.
Cheryl Swoops really missed the mark this time. With a bold stance and a voice full of certainty, she boldly claimed that Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever were doomed to fail in attracting top-tier free agents. But fast forward, and the Fever just pulled off one of the most impressive free agency hauls the league has ever seen. As for Cheryl, well, she's now the human equivalent of a malfunctioning Magic 8 ball, constantly wrong every step of the way.
People in the Fever were like, y'all.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some
So
new
that's-
some new
like
shit's
it's
going
a
on
lot.
around there.
It's a lot. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't
want to be here.
This is where I want to be.
Yeah.
Let's hit rewind for a second. Cheryl Swoops, Hall of Famer, basketball icon, no doubt. But these days, she's clocking in full-time as a professional skeptic, putting in some serious overtime. With all her experience, she boldly declared that the Fever would never land elite players because of supposed locker room drama. And yet, here we are, contracts signed, deals sealed, and Indiana just built a powerhouse. Meanwhile, Cheryl's left watching from the sidelines, looking a little foolish, probably brainstorming her next questionable hot take.
Stephanie White came in and said, okay, hold up. Let me go to Indeed.com and Indeed get some free agents to come in here that want to play, that are accomplished, seasoned veterans. She did all that. Cheryl's been nowhere to been found. Cheryl got a lot of crow to eat, folks. Cheryl could be choking on crow right now. She need that Heimlich maneuver. If you see Cheryl Swoops, tell her it's okay to come out and talk and say, man, you was wrong. It's okay.
I can picture Cheryl scrolling through her phone like, no way these players picked Indiana. But surprise, Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner, Sophie Cunningham, and even Asia Wilson's best friend, Sydney Colson, are all in the Fever. They didn't just win free agency, they absolutely cooked it. And when Colson was asked why she signed with Indiana, let's roll the footage.
Yeah, I talked to Sydney Colson today about her signing with Indiana. She said that Kelsey Mitchell was actually the first person she hit up because they built a bond here, playing AU for the last 3 years. She said she heard some good things about Caitlin Clark from her Aces teammate Kate Martin as well, so that made the decision easy.
Exactly. She was drawn to playing alongside Kelsey Mitchell, a longtime friend, and the rising star, Caitlin Clark. These were the very two players Cheryl Swoops wrote off just months ago. And here's the kicker. This is the same Cheryl who said Caitlin Clark would need years to get used to the WNBA. Years? Seriously? Clark's out here casually dropping 40 points like it's nothing, while Swoops' predictions are aging about as well as spoiled milk.
3 WNBA MVPs in your career. Would you consider each of those 3 seasons as dominant seasons for yourself?
No.
I can't, bro. Cheryl Swoops is willing to lie about her own career before she even admits that Caitlin is dominant.
At this point, it feels like hating on Caitlin Clark has become Cheryl Swoops' personal Olympic event, and she's snagging gold. Actually, she's probably sweeping the entire podium, gold, silver, and bronze, looking all kinds of salty while the anthem plays. Oh, Caitlyn won't make the leap to the WNBA. Well, someone should let Indiana know, because they're out here stacking elite talent like they're building an all-star team. Caitlin Clark isn't just finding her footing, she's dominating, and the Fever are right there with her. Maybe it's time for Cheryl Swoops to take a back seat, because Indiana just gave her a reality check.
No, but players who will be free agents next year. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Let's not fool ourselves. The real reason some of these WNBA vets and self-proclaimed legends can't stand Caitlin Clark is because she didn't play by their rules. She didn't wait her turn or ask for permission to stand out. Nah, she waltzed in, shattered 62 records in her rookie season, embraced the fans, and took the sport to new global heights. And, oh, does that sting for them? You bet it does.
The Indiana Fever are that golden destination, and I can't help but laugh to the fans and the people online and the media commentators, unfortunately, who said that nobody wanted to play in Indiana. That doesn't make any sense.
Caitlin Clark didn't need anyone's approval to claim her spot as the face of women's basketball. She's got more global recognition than half the league combined, and that's not by accident. That's the power of being a generational talent. Cheryl Swoops, Angel Reese, Aja Wilson, and the rest of the Caitlyn haters are just going to have to live with it. While they're busy throwing shade, Caitlyn is out here racking up accolades, selling out arenas, and making the Indiana Fever the hottest ticket in town. And let's take a moment to appreciate this. The Indiana Fever, the team once overlooked by everyone, are now the center of the basketball world. The former league underdog is now the squad every player wants to join. Now that's what you call shifting the entire landscape.
A lot of people say that Caitlin Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness.
So, Cheryl, what happened to that claim about players not wanting to go to Indiana? Who exactly were you talking to? The ghosts of teams long gone? Because real, relevant players are lining up to join the Fever like it's the VIP section of an exclusive club. Did she honestly think Caitlin Clark would have to beg anyone to team up with her? Let's be real here.
Went even further when a game that Cheryl Swoops was calling for the Dallas Wings, where the commentator was talking about how great Caitlin Clark had been playing. Cheryl Swoops, silent for 60 seconds, didn't even want to address it. And it got so bad that the game that Dallas then went to play against the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark, after the domination of the Chicago Sky, Cheryl Swoops got pulled from the broadcast.
Someone better check on Cheryl, because she's clearly stuck in 2002 when the Fever were stumbling through mediocrity like it was some kind of team-building drill. Sis, things have shifted. This isn't Tamika Catchings trying to lift a squad of part-time gym teachers. The Indiana Fever are stacked now. Natasha Howard, a champion, defensive powerhouse, and certified scorer. Here's what she had to say when she signed on with the team.
It's going to be Caitlin Clark Flash Show. So it's going to be phenomenal playing with a point guard, like you said, that have a good vision on the court. Because that's like, as soon as she gets the ball in her hand, she's throwing it up because she already sees the person down the court before she even gets the ball in her hand. So that's one thing I love about her vision on the court. I really can't wait to catch all those passes and give her all the assists that she needs.
DeWanna Bonner, standing tall at 6 feet 4 inches, a walking mismatch, an elite scorer, and a key player in the WNBA's top tier. And guess what? She just fired back at all the Fever doubters on Twitter. Then there's Sophie Cunningham, bringing the heat, the confidence, and enough smack talk to shake any arena. So, who did she want to team up with?
Why does everybody hate Caitlin Clark? And do you hate Caitlin Clark? Come on, talk
dude.
to me.
Absolutely not. I think that she's a gem. I've never really I didn't know her, but All-Star Weekend, we kind of bantered back and forth a little bit. And she's lovely. She has a lot of pressure on her shoulders. And I think a lot of people always have a lot to say with people they don't even know or shoes they've never been in. And for me, I think she's handling the pressure very well. She's doing a lot of great things for women's basketball. And I'm a fan. Like, I would love to play with her one day, for real.
And Sydney Colson, whether she's logging major minutes or not, is about to transform the Fever locker room into the most fun, high-energy space the team has ever seen. The chemistry? Off the charts. Do we sense a trend here? They all chose Indiana. They all decided to play with the core group of Caitlin, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull. So while Cheryl Swoops is busy crafting her next misguided hot take, the Fever are out here building a dynasty. Maybe it's time someone hands Cheryl a pair of glasses because she might be talking about the wrong team. Could she be referring to the Las Vegas Aces, the Chicago Sky, or the Connecticut Sun, all of which seem to be falling apart? The Fever are here, and they're not just showing up, they're taking over.
You know that I'm very excited, and I really agree with a lot of the moves the Indiana Fever have made. There's not been one trade or pickup that the Indiana Fever have made that I have not been on board with. I'm on board with every single one. And I just want to say the fact that the Indiana Fever have gone out and got these great players like a Natasha Howard, like a Dewana Bonner, like a Sophie Cunningham, the fact that they've gone out and got these great players shows that they believe Caitlin Clark is great right now. They are on board with the Caitlin Clark vision, and it just makes me happy, because they're not treating Caitlin Clark like a rookie who is gonna be good in 10 years. No, they're treating her like a superstar who is good right now.
Cheryl Swoops really thought she was dropping some major insights on the Gills Arena podcast. She hopped on the mic like she was about to spill top secret info, but all she ended up revealing was just how much her credibility has taken a hit. At this point, are we even shocked? Cheryl's out here throwing out hot takes like it's her side hustle, and if there were a Hall of Fame for terrible opinions, she'd be a first ballot, unanimous pick.